Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is, of course, Jay Moore bringing you the fourth game of the series between Elfi and Daisy. So this could actually be the final game if Elfi is able to take it. Done some interesting builds so far. Definitely, Elfi has been the aggressor for the most part, and hopefully he'll keep it the same because it seems to be working against Daisy. So we will go ahead and jump right into this game. So spawning in the northwest corner, we do have ROG, aka Republica Gamers, Elfi as our blue Protoss, and spawning in the southeast corner, we do have Escape Boxes Daisy as our red Protoss. So during the last game, we actually saw Elfi go for a Warp Prism timing, and he actually broke just about even. He did enough damage to where it was worth it, but then he followed it up with one base Colossus timing and used the Colossus to punish Daisy for having primarily Zealots and Sentries relying on the force fields, and so Daisy actually did falter at his natural. So of course Daisy is down 2. Well, I guess he's 1 and Elfi's 2. So again, if Daisy is able to take this, we will go to the ace match, the 5th game. So we will have to see, are any of these players going to cheese? Of course, Elfi is a big fan of cannons. I've actually seen him do it before. It doesn't look like we are going to see it though. He is actually opting to drop his first pylon in his base, and same with Daisy. One thing to note, I've actually seen this recently. Players tend to build their first pylon over here on the right side of their nexus when the ramps are here, and to use buildings to wall off in case of some sort of pressure. It's kind of hard to explain, but essentially there's a build going around where Koreans are actually cannoning on Antigua shipyard because they steal the gas geyser for vision. So players are often build their first pylon over here to deny any sort of scouting information or running by. So it's something very minor, but definitely do this because it seems to be becoming pretty popular on ladder. I've actually run into it quite a bit myself. I really enjoy PvP, especially the mid game of it, so I do not like being cannon rushed whatsoever. So the second pylons are both going down in the main, so we are definitely going to see some in-base tech going down here. Nothing funky. We're not going to see any sort of 2-gate pressure. And again, Elfi opting to scout. Every game, I'm pretty sure he's been the only one scouted. I do not believe Daisy did scout. I think he may have scouted during the first game. So definitely Elfi making sure he has enough information. And so Elfi will get up into his opponent's base here. We'll see the full barrage of his buildings. There's a cyber core along with the gateway. And so Elfi's probably feeling pretty good right now. Knows, okay, my opponent is just doing very standard opening. We'll have to see where he's going with this. And actually, Elfi not building another probe here. There we go. So a little bit of a delay there, not a big deal. But Elfi is getting the full scout here, doing some probe harass, trying to block the assimilator. Of course, if you push your probe against your opponent's assimilator and then push the hold position, they actually cannot build an assimilator. I've heard, though, if Daisy, well, I guess, oh, it looks like Elfi almost getting pincered by the additional probes, and now the Cybernex core is done, so we should see Gateway Research start here, and the Zealot is out from Daisy. So again, you know, standard PvP lately has been getting that first Zealot out, getting the first Stalker out, not a big deal, and then following up either a second Stalker or a Sentry. Some players opt to skip the Sentry, and Daisy probably will change his thoughts on that because he did lose a game just because of that earlier on in this series. Looks like Elfi is dropping another robotics facility. He does have 2 gas this time, so we are not going to see his infamous Zealot drop. It's looking like he's not going to do it this game. So where will he go from here? He might actually go for an Immortal timing, might go for a 1-base Colossus timing again, and actually Daisy doing a good job of making, oh, actually skipping the Sentry. So Daisy is not too worried about another 4-gate from Elfi. Of course, this is Antigua Shipyard, so it's a pretty hard thing to do. And Elfi does have map control. He does have the center of the watchtower, has his probe on the left side, making sure that he can get away if need be. It looks like we actually do have a Stargate coming out from Daisy. Actually, I'm a big fan of the Stargate play. I actually really enjoy it. I don't know the correct number of Phoenix to make, though. I usually make about 4 or 5, and if I'm doing enough damage, actually, I usually build about 3, and then if I'm doing enough damage, I transition into about 5. So Daisy is going to push onto the watchtower at this point. There is just a probe here, so Elfi will have to take off. The probe, of course, will get away with its life, but now the robotics facility is done. Usually when I do Stargate play, I like to follow it up with a robotics facility, so we'll have to see what is Daisy going to do. He does actually have 2 additional gateways, so spreading his tech quite thin right now. First Phoenix is on the way out. Definitely nothing wrong with this. And so the first Phoenix will pop out in a second. Usually you want to wait till you have about 2 Phoenix before you do push out. And actually Daisy might go for some sort of timing here. He actually does have a pylon on the low ground, and he's going to run up here, give it vision to warp in up on the higher ground. And Immortal is coming out, and it looks like we are going for a 1-base Colossus timing. So Phoenix, of course, very good against Colossus. You know, when you go for a 1-base Colossus, you're not going to have enough Stalkers to really make it worth it early on. And the Observer is going to see full scouting information, so we might actually see a cancel on this Robotics Bay. Maybe not. Yes, we do actually see a cancel on it, and we do see additional Stalkers being warped in. Is he going to go for a Twilight Council? Yes, he is. He's going to drop an additional gateway. Actually, 4 gates. Really? Wow, 4 gates. Oh, he's going to go for Blink Stalker timing. I kind of like this, actually. Nice follow-up. Cancel on the Robotics Bay, not a bad idea. And then transitioning into going for the blink stalker tech. There's nothing wrong with that. He's going to use the observer to help him blink up on the high ground, and he actually might know there's a timing coming as well. Where is his observer at? Did he couldn't have lost it. Where is ELFI's observer? It is still on the map somewhere. There it is. Sorry about that. And so Daisy taking the front field here, has a ton of units. He might actually try and warp it on the high ground, and Daisy going for some sort of timing. If ELFI is able to secure all 3 of these sentries at the same time, this will be very important. Actually picking up the first one. He is going to lose one of his Phoenix here, though, so not sure if worth it. Yep, he actually is going to be able to get in here without a problem, but he really needs to move with the ramp because these sentries dropped. They are going to force field them out, and yes, they do get dropped. Is he going to force field? Yes, he is. And now ELFI in a great position, does have his opponent split in half, but the Phoenix are doing quite a bit of damage here, actually holding them up in the air. Here come the probes from ELFI, trying to hold this out as long as possible. He is on 4 gates. He does have quite a bit of minerals banked up, so he'll be able to warp in a ton of units. Daisy trying to do as much damage as possible, does not have any more units in production. No more Phoenix are coming up, but there are a handful of Stalkers coming in. The Phoenix are useless at this point. Looks like they have just enough energy, maybe for one more. No. And now ELFI has the higher ground and is in great positioning here. How many probes has he lost? 9, so that's definitely going to hurt him here. And it looks like ELFI is going to push his opponent back. And how is ELFI doing? Down a lot of supply. It's really hard to say here. It's really going to come down to this final engagement. He really needs to save up enough energy to pick up one of those sentry, getting force fielded out here, wasting the force field. And so now ELFI is in a pretty uncomfortable position. Those Stalkers on the high ground, of course, are going to deny Daisy from doing too much damage. And another Phoenix is being brought out. Not sure how I feel about this. Actually going to say I really don't like it. I don't think he needs it at this point. It's going to take a while to get out, and it looks like it is just finishing up now. Going to run up the ramp here, trying to pick up. Oh, another force field wasted. And so ELFI only has... Well, he doesn't actually have any more force fields left. Taking a look at the army supplies. Sorry about that there. Daisy's actually ahead by 5, and of course these Phoenix do come into that play. And where's the... Oh, no. It looks like... Oh, another force field did just come up, so he's going to burn out a couple of units. And this should be able to give ELFI the advantage that he needs in order to take this game. Actually pushing out on the ramp. Going to kill another Stalker. Phoenix are coming in at this point. The additional Phoenix is coming in. And here come the Stalkers actually focusing down the Zealots. Not sure how I feel about that. And so now ELFI is going to push forward. And it's looking like ELFI is actually going to take this fight. And, oh, a bunch more Stalkers do enter the fray, picking off another sentry. No more pickups are available. Oh, there actually is one pickup available. Going to snipe that Stalker. Very nice from Daisy. So making use of these Phoenix. Of course, they are very, very strong and trying to do as much damage as he possibly can. ELFI down 9 supply. A lot of that is probes, of course. ELFI down 5 probe count. Actually trying to shoot down the assimilator. This assimilator is actually helping ELFI quite a bit. He's warping in quite a bit of sentries at this point, and now there are 3 sentries back in the field. There's another Phoenix coming out, so they'll put his count to 4. And we do have a couple more Zealots being warped in, trying to warp in on the high ground. And here come the Phoenix again, trying to do some more damage. Might pick up a sentry here. Yes, make sure to pick up one with quite a bit of energy. Focusing down. Oh, actually has to force a drop, so wasting quite a bit of the energy here. We do have one more force field available from, from ELFI. And ELFI is still behind by 11 supply, picking up another sentry. And does he have any more force fields left? Yes, he has one, and the second one is going to come up shortly. He does not have any pickups left. Another 10 seconds till he does. And this pylon finishing could actually seal the deal for Daisy. Getting sealed out again, losing another sentry from ELFI. And now the Stalker is trying to run around. He can warp in on the high ground at this point, and here come a bunch of Stalkers. This last force field is not going to finish, but a sentry did just finish, and it's going to add in another force field. So ELFI is now gaining the lead at this point. These Phoenix are now useless. They do not have the energy that they need to do anything, and now ELFI has he's ahead by 1 army supply right now, moving up the ramp, and here comes the final battle. This is for the series. If ELFI does finish off Daisy's army, he will take this series, and it looks like, ooh, another warping is going to help Daisy stay in this series, pushing up against ELFI's army. This is going back and forth, and a Zealot, very nice kite from Daisy, making sure to use every bit of unity as possible. Another pickup does become available, and it's looking like Daisy might have actually cost himself the game here. These Phoenix are not able to do enough right now, and there's another warping on the high ground. They are even on supply. ELFI actually ahead by just slightly. Army supplies are definitely showing in favor of ELFI, pulling back to his mineral line, trying to burn down the pylon, but I don't think that's useful at this point. Needs to clean up as many of these units as possible, force fielding the Zealots out, and at this point, it's looking like ELFI is going to take this series 3-1. Actually up 10 supply right now, and army supplies are definitely showing the story now. 15-10. Blink coming out from ELFI, and what is Daisy to do? Building another Phoenix and a robotics facility at the same time. Wow, that was quite the engagement. Very, very nice micro from both of our players. Actually, Daisy doing a good job of microing his Zealots, or excuse me, his Stalkers away from the Zealots, doing a very good job. And now ELFI's going to go around and clean up these pylons one by one. Actually will supply cap Daisy if he's able to clean up a couple more. At this point, ELFI is going to take his observer. run it back over to its opponent's base and see what is going on. Of course, he does have an observer, so he will be able to blink into his opponent's base. He's going to focus all of his Chrono Boost energy onto getting blink as soon as possible, warping in primarily stalkers, of course, and there is a forward pylon coming out from this probe. Take a look at the Phoenix count. There is currently 4 on the map with an additional 1 coming out. If Daisy were able to pick up the probe here, this would actually be pretty nice. And yes, he is going to be able to. Needs to take out the observer though. That's going to be even more important. There are 5 Phoenix on the map. That's really all Daisy has going for him is these Phoenix right now. And the Mortal is coming out first, so he's not going to snipe this observer. Of course, Elfi will try and blink up into the main. If Daisy is able to pick up enough of the Stalkers while the Immortal picks off the remainder, he will be able to win this fight pretty convincingly, I'm thinking, but this is going to be it for Daisy. I mean, he has another Warping round available soon, and actually Elfi is expanding behind this as well. Excuse me. And now Elfi is pulling his Observer back. He notices that an Immortal is out and should be followed up by an Observer. Daisy was supply cap for a moment, so we should see a Warpin coming in any second here. And actually, Elfi is going to push forward. He's not going to engage on this. I do not think so. I think he's just going to try and expand behind this, being very smart. Even in PvP, you always want to stretch your advantages. And here comes the Observer from Daisy. He should be able to pick off Elfi's. And I mean, army supplies are definitely actually exactly even. Worker supply is 1 over for Elfi. So this is a very, very close matchup, even on skill here. And here comes the Phoenix with the Observer. I'm surprised he hasn't moved out with these, trying to pick off the Observer of Elfi. And he might actually just sit here and force field his opponent in repeatedly at this point, now that his Nexus is just about done. Elfi looking to go home at this point. He knows that he has an expansion finishing up. Of course, this pylon is definitely an ever popular threat for Daisy, or excuse me, for Elfi. And now the Phoenix are going to move in. They might actually pick off these slower sentries. He should actually move up these Phoenix. I'm surprised he hasn't used them to scout. And that's exactly what Daisy's going to do. Needs to move up here. Elfi's doing a good job of holding the watchtower. A couple units all ripped in on the west side of the map. Of course, this pylon is very, very useful. Trying to protect the Phoenix as much as possible. Showing his blink at that point, but getting a free Phoenix. So that's quite nice. And now Elfi's going to retreat back to his base. Might focus on dropping some force field on this ramp and trying to hold. That's exactly what he is doing. Warping in primarily zealots, or excuse me, sentries and stalkers. He's going to try to hold the ramp here and blinking underneath, picking off another Phoenix. So a Phoenix for a sentry, do not believe that is worth it in the math book. And so Daisy is moving up to the ramp of his opponent. 1 Immortal. Taking a look at the army supplies, they are even. And here we go. Daisy going for the final fight to keep himself in this tournament. The Phoenix are getting caught out of position here, losing 1 Phoenix already, focusing on a couple of stalkers, and now Elfi in a great position, gonna clean up the remainder of this army if Daisy does not retreat home. And Elfi with an expansion, so of course he is way ahead. We are up on 6 supply, and now Elfi is actually mining quite nicely off this. He did transfer a bunch of probes, and here we go. Elfi getting pushed back once again. Force fields do come out from Elfi, and actually I think Elfi can just directly engage on this. Actually clean up quite a bit of the zealots. Here comes a bunch of probes from Elfi. He knows if he holds this that he wins this game. Sentries are rolling in for Daisy, and there's the blink forward from Elfi, and it's looking like Elfi is in fact going to take this series 3-1 over Daisy. A couple extra force fields go down, but it is not going to be enough. Another aggressive blink forward. And we do have a GG from Daisy, so Elfi will take the Zotac Cup series 3-1 over Daisy. So a very, very interesting play. As we got further into the series, the games definitely got more and more interesting. So overall, I hope you enjoyed the series, and I hope you enjoyed my casting. Of course, I am Jay Morrow. You can follow me on Twitter under @JMorrowPro and on YouTube under Jay Morrow Pro as well. So thank you so much for tuning in.